What do you make of those concerns that it's about parents wanting to have a say or wanting information or involvement in their children's, in this case, pronouns?
I think in some cases, parents who do not want their children to be queer or trans don't want to see them supported. And they may not even know that their children are queer or trans, but, the family culture, perhaps the religious beliefs, etc., are anti-gay, anti-trans. So, if their kid is going to be out anywhere, it certainly isn't going to be at home. So, for sure, it would be like, okay, we must limit the supports. We must limit the places where queer and trans kids and young people feel safe so that they, try to be straight. But, that's incredibly, incredibly harmful. And one of the things we know is that children are not always in safe environments. And for a queer or a trans kid, an environment where they feel unwelcome or that there's something wrong with them, it's incredibly damaging. And the onus is on us via public education context to try to provide safety for children. I mean, you could say that parents have the rights to teach their children to be racist and that it's not the school's business to counter that, but we wouldn't accept that for a second. But if parents are to have the right to teach their children that it's only okay to be heterosexual and that being trans is not a thing, that's not okay, that's equally problematic because there are queer and trans people everywhere. And one of the things we know is that the majority of trans kids are invisible because they know it's not safe to come out. But what I want to say about school contexts, I'm sure that if a teacher or counselor were to receive a disclosure from a kid that they are queer or trans or that they would like a different pronoun, probably one of the first questions that person would ask that kid is, hey, is this something you've talked with your parents about? And the kid would say, I haven't, I want to, but, I'm a bit nervous about that, but I'd like to. And I believe that teacher or that counselor would say, how can I help you? How can I support you, in coming to a place where you're ready to talk to your parents? Would you like me to be there? Those kinds of things. But in other cases, a kid would say, I would have to leave home if my parents knew. And a teacher or another adult at the school who it's their job to keep this kid safe and to support this kid, they need to respect confidentiality because it isn't safe. And kids know if it's safe for them to tell their parents. So do we just absolve ourselves as public educators from the responsibility of looking out for vulnerable kids and supporting kids so that they can be, prevented from living as they truly are, with the extensive research-based knowledge, as well as, the knowledge of so many people who've experienced it, that this has horrible outcomes for queer and trans people. The best thing that we can do for trans and gender diverse kids is to respect them when they tell us that, what their gender is and what pronouns they'd like, if they need to change their name. What we need to do is say, I'm here. Absolutely. Okay. Tell me how I can support you. That's what we need to do for queer and trans kids, not target them. And one of the things I would just like to add is that not these kinds of really public hate-filled campaigns, they don't just harm queer and trans kids. They harm, girls and boys who might be a little bit gender nonconforming or who just, in some way feel like they don't fit with the dominant image of what boys are like or girls are like. It has a negative impact on all kids. It's very harmful.